Greetings and welcome to another episode of Krusty Canuck. I am your host, Krusty. It is a beautiful July 25th, 2019. My apologies for the look of this video. I've been having software issues yet again. A special shout out there to the individuals that gave me a hand recently with some graphics and some titles. Thank you kindly. But as I said, I'm having software issues. So I'm trying to sort it out. So here I am trying to get everything done on this tablet and hopefully get it loaded for you and my listeners and my viewers alike. Please enjoy. So today's episode will consist of the gun issue, based on an article in the Toronto Sun by Brian Lilly, as well as Butts' return, and of course Trudeau keep putting his foot in his mouth in regards to the Indigenous affairs of this country. So we're going to start with the gun issue. Let's see here. Yes, according to the Toronto Sun, it was dated on the 23rd, 2 days ago. Hundreds of guns go missing from the Mounties, military, and other departments. Oh, interesting. Yeah. One of the arguments the gun control advocates will be make for calling an outright ban on handguns or certain rifles is that if regular citizens don't have these firearms in their homes, they can't be lost or stolen to be used in a crime. Now, we all know, ladies and gentlemen, about the gun debate in this country, especially with Mr. Danforth Shooter last year, and a year after the fact, on how so many politicians are weighing in on public safety. Everybody from Mr. Bill Blair to Ralph Goodale, and of course the mayor of Toronto, putting their arms up in the air and going, oh my God, we have to get rid of all these guns are bad, guns are bad. Yeah, they're bad when they're in the hands of bad people. And they're bad when they're in the hands of people who are ill-experienced and have no idea what they're doing. But I'll read on, and I'll leave a link at the end of this video, just so you can read it too. Newly released documents from the RCMP and other federal departments and agencies show that the risk of lost or stolen guns is an issue, then better think of taking guns away from Mounties, maybe even the military. Ooh, wow. Firearms researcher Dennis Young obtained a list of the number of guns lost or stolen by police or public agencies from 2005 through 2019, and the numbers might shock you. The plot thickens. A total of 640 firearms were reported lost in that time frame. Another 173 were reported stolen. Wow. That includes 469 handguns reported lost and another 117 handguns stolen. And according to another set of documents released through the Access to Information legislation, that would include Smith & Wesson 5946 RCMP service pistol that was lost by someone on the Prime Minister's protection detail back in 2007. Okay, so regardless of who was Prime Minister, who was in charge, from being ex-military, from working in an atmosphere where we did lock up our rifles and our pistols and ammo and everything accordingly, this shit's fucking scary, folks. All right. Beyond handguns, more exotic firearms have been lost by our police and public agencies, including a report of what only described as 13 submachine guns. There were a total of 10 submachine guns reported lost in 2015, followed by one in each of the following 3 years. Wow. And they're worried about me locking up my guns properly. Furthermore, the RCMP detachment in North Battleford, Saskatchewan lost a fully automatic C8, the type of rifle used by Canada's military. Yes, the C8, the carbine, the shorter version of our service weapon. The RCMP also had a federal M201Z stolen from their warehouse. That's the weapon that's used to fire tear gas and stuff, Interesting. Young says political class in Ottawa want to scapegoat civilian gun owners without looking at their own system. Well, I agree. Really? 640 guns? So that works out about 8 and change. Yeah, thought in my head. Federal cabinet ministers, such as Bill Blair, and Ralph Goodale, keep talking about the source of crime guns being from the gun dealers and law-abiding owners. Here we have the police and public agencies, and they also have their guns lost and stolen from them. Okay, Ralph and Bill and everybody else pointing fingers. Okay? Get a goddamn grip. You have to talk about all the sources and not just some of them. One of the sources of the guns floating around in the public is the Department of National Defense. In a third access to information request, Young obtained documents showing 559 firearms reported lost by the military and another 14 stolen between 2008 and 18. Wow. I was serving that time. I never heard about that. Nothing was stolen out of my vaults. Everything was accounted for in my vaults. Right. Fucking pathetic. Of course, in the meantime, the Trudeau Liberals have been increasing paperwork on civilian gun owners and making their life more difficult, all in the name of stopping gang shootings in the streets. Wow. So, gang shooting in the streets, a legal firearm. Usually serial numbers are rubbed off of them. It's been proven that some of these guns have come from the States, crossing the border illegally. Not that I'm blaming my American friends. They've got different laws down there. However, when weapons are acquired illegally in this country, these clowns want to blame you and me. Wow. It hasn't worked out, but that hasn't stopping them from increasing the rhetoric and talking about banning handguns or some rifles from civilian ownership. Absolutely, says Young, when asked if he thinks licensed gun owners will be used as political football in the coming election. The Liberals go by polls, and they are going to follow that lead. If they can think they can demonize people that aren't the problem, then they're going to do it. And demonizing illegal gun owners is part of the strategy we can expect from JT and the Liberals in this coming election. In the last election, they falsely claimed that conservative changes to gun laws were letting people keep their handguns in their cars. That's not true. I'm not allowed to do that. And I know as hell people who are not allowed to do that under the Harper regime either. As I keep saying, the gun crime problem in Canada won't be solved by laying more regulations on the people over knowing and following the law. It would be solved by dealing with those who break it. Precisely. Okay? Now, let's say a 16-year-old boy takes it upon himself to have a few drinks and drive his car. Or a car, for that matter. He hits somebody or hits someone. Does that mean every 16-year-old boy with a driver's license has to get punished? No. So how come every gun owner in this country that follows the rules, regulations, and has their PAL card, and has done the training and done everything properly to the best of his or her ability, still gets scrutinized when you've got shit like this going on in our federal agencies? Tell you something. When I was a soldier, and if anything went missing in my vaults, or anything in my watch going missing, there would be an investigation from here to fucking Uranus and back. Okay? You'd be asked question after question. That's everything from a missing magazine to a missing pistol, parts thereof. Right? And it's insulting to be able to read this and to know this crap is going on. Now, regardless if you like the Sun or not, or whatever media outlet that you aspire to or read to or subscribe to, fine. But to find this out, and especially from the source, Brian Lilley, he's a good man. I like his talk show, like he has to say. I followed him on The Rebel. Intelligent guy. I doubt he'd be making this crap up. But I'll leave a link at the end of the video for you to decide. Speaks for itself, folks. So while the government still persists that we are criminals and we're just bad people, they won't take the blame for any of their fuck-ups. Go figure. Well, that's that story. Now let's carry on to Butts, shall we? Okay. Mr. Butts, Mr. Butts, Mr. Butts. According to the Globe and Mail, Gerald BUTTS returning to take on an important role in Liberal re-election campaign, party official says. And this is dated the 21st July, so only a few days ago, sorry. Let's see. Gerald BUTTS, who quit as Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau chief aide, arrives to testify at the House of Commons, the Justice Committee, during the March debacle with the SNC-Lavalin. So here's a guy that retired or resigned during the SNC-Lavalin inquiry. And all of a sudden, magically, he's back to help his little buddy Trudeau. What's going on here? Interesting. Gerry BUTTS, formerly one of Justin Trudeau's closest aides, who left his post in the midst of the SNC-Lavalin affair, is returning to the party to take on what is described as an important role in its re-election campaign. The Liberal Party official said Sunday. Mr. BUTTS resigned as Prime Minister's principal secretary in February after allegations that he was involved in putting pressure on former Justice Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould to secure a deferred prosecution agreement for the Quebec engineering giant. In a statement at that time, Mr. BUTTS denied pressing Miss Wilson, but announced his resignation, saying the accusations were distracting from the Prime Minister's work. Aw, poor guy. Cause a shitstorm and can't take responsibility to clean it up? Aw, pumpkin. The fallout from SNC-Lavalin also resulted in the resignation from the cabinet of two other high-profile members of the government, Ms. Wilson-Raybould and former Treasury Board President Jane Philpott. Michael Wernick, former clerk of the Privy Council, also resigned. We knew that. Prior to his resignation, Mr. BUTTS, a lifelong friend of Mr. Trudeau's, was a key aide and strategist in the Liberal government, and he also played a role in developing Mr. Trudeau's 2015 campaign ads. You know, sunny ways! Fuck. Which focused on improving government transparency, climate change, and boosting the economy and the middle class. Bullshit. You and I both know that. Now Mr. BUTTS' return to the Liberal team has opposition parties pointing fingers and denouncing what they describe as cynical politics. The party official, who was granted anonymity by the Globe and Mail because they were not authorized to discuss the matter publicly, would not provide further details on what Mr. BUTTS' campaign role would entail. It's a secret. Yeah, of course it is. Help your drowning friend, right? Even though your drowning friend jumped in the water himself without a life preserver. A Conservative Party statement attributed to leader Andrew Scheer said the announcement reflects Mr. Trudeau's terrible judgment. Those responsible for the SNC-Lavalin controversy are still working for the Trudeau government, while Miss Wilson-Raybould and Miss Philpott were kicked out of the Liberal caucus, the statement said. Yes, they were kicked out. In other words, the only people who told Canadians the truth about Trudeau's corruption have been purged from the Liberal Party. Yes. While those who helped him cover it up and have been rewarded. Yeah, they have been. You know? I'll get to that shortly. Mr. Trudeau promised accountability and transparency, but failed to do politics differently, the statement added. You and I know this, folks. Shitbird and one. Braden Cowley, Director of Communications for the Liberal Party, said personal attacks are nothing new from the opposition Conservatives. Well, that's parliamentary life. Healthy opposition will give you attacks. Doesn't matter if you're Conservative, Liberal, NDP, Green, PPC, Libertarian, Rhinoceros, or I don't give a fuck party. While their focus is to double down on Harper-style negative politics, Liberals are focused on Canadians and our positive plan to invest in the middle class, he said. Really? They keep telling that same rhetoric? Positive influence on the middle class. Get rid of the carbon tax. Stop hiking taxes in the middle class. There you go. Right? Gerry BUTTS is very symbolic of cynicism and the drive of the Trudeau machine. Mr. Angus said, the problem currently facing the Liberals, he added, is that Canadians believe Mr. Trudeau would bring a new kind of change when they voted a majority Liberal government into office in 2015. The only change you brought, Liberals, is that you divide the country. People question your tactics. You label them racist. You label them bigot. You label them fascist, Nazis, whatever the buzzword of the day was. You don't give a shit about your actions. That's the fucking problem. Do you not see here? The Liberal campaign would be led by Jeremy Broadhurst, a longtime party organizer and former Chief of Staff to Foreign Affairs Minister Chrysler Freeland. And Adam, if you're watching, the pint-sized twat. Okay? And will include Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale, Innovation Minister Navdeep Bains, and Intergovernmental Affairs Minister Dominic LeBlanc, who, by which, gave a lot of jobs to his in-laws. But that's another story. Transparency. Well, don't really follow the Globe and Mail quite a bit, but it speaks for itself. I'll leave links at the end of the video so you can decide. Yeah, but that's that story, Mr. Butts. Yeah, I don't know what to say. What do you guys say? Let me know. Send me a comment in the link here on YouTube, or send me a comment on the Podbean. I'll leave a link in the description. Right? If you like what you see, please comment, click like, and don't forget to press that little red bell at the end of the page there. Just keep the algorithm going up. I guess it's a new experiment that YouTube is doing. So that way you'll get notified when I put new content up. Right? And before I carry on with the last story of this video, if you'd like to get yourself one of these, by all means, it's a sticker. Put it in your car, put it in your guitar case, put it in your gun case, put it in the back of your truck, don't matter. And the t-shirt there behind me, it's available too. All right. $5 to $10 donation a month will get you a free shirt of your choosing on my Teespring site. I'll leave a link at the bottom. And $5 to $10 donation, a dedicated donation, will get you a free shirt, no charge. $3 to $5 donation will get you a mug of your choice on my Teespring site. And 30% of everything donated or sold on my Teespring, I will give to the Calgary Veterans Food Bank. Okay? That promise still goes, ladies and gentlemen, hands down. No holds barred. I will give 30% of everything I've sold and everything I've earned from your donations to the Calgary Veterans Food Bank. Fair deal? Perfect. Just trying to supplement my income here, get things on the go, and to help some of those guys less fortunate. All right, there you have it. So, last story. Justin Trudeau's faux pas. Another faux pas. Now this comes from Spencer Fernando, Spencer Fernando, a well-adjusted writer, a hell of a speaker, and an all-around smart Canadian. And this came from the Post Millennial, and I'll leave this link in the end of my video description here. But according to his article, which was just released about 4 hours ago, what if Andrew Scheer compared Indigenous communities to children like Justin Trudeau did? He writes, many Canadians feel there's a massive double standard when it comes to how the media treats different political parties and leaders. For example, the establishment press often automatically assumes the worst about Conservatives, willing to ascribe them to the worst possible motives while giving Liberals the benefit of the doubt. Conservatives are often forced to preemptively defend themselves against charges of racism, even when those charges are totally fabricated and laughably absurd. For example, the Conservatives were regularly attacked for being bigoted or anti-immigrant when they called for tougher measures against illegal border crossings. Right? The Liberals gleefully piled on those tracks, demonizing Conservatives over and over again. Yet with the election approaching, the Liberals reversed course and adopted many of the exact things the Conservatives had proposed to deal with the illegal crossings. But when the Liberals accused of racism and bigotry, nope, not one perp. They come across as heroes. Yes. And once tougher border measures became a Liberal idea, the establishment media didn't have a problem with it. Latest example of this double standard can be witnessed in how Trudeau has gotten a free pass for comparing Indigenous communities to children. Now get this. Pay attention to this. Right? Like I said, I'll leave a link at the bottom of this so you can reread it again. Right? As he recently wrote, as Spencer Fernando wrote in his article, there was a clear example of Trudeau's elitist arrogance. Speaking about the relationship between the government and the Indigenous communities, Trudeau said this, as reported by CTV News, we have to be patient. We have to be present. We have to be unconditional in our support in a way a parent needs to be unconditional in their love. Not that there's a parent-child dynamic here. Trudeau also said Indigenous communities need to be able to make their own mistakes. I don't know about you, but that is a very, very condescending statement to say to anybody over the age of 18. Like, I know lots of First Nations persons out there. And like any other human being, we all deserve dignity and respect. Regardless of what language you speak, what color your skin is, how long your hair is, what you identify with, what gender you are, what your sexual preference is. Okay? This proves, ladies and gentlemen, what kind of man Justin really is. He's not a man. He's a child in loafers. Okay? Lay off the race baiting. Lay off the differences about races. Yes, there's visual differences. Okay? But I don't believe people should be treated differently because of the color of their skin. I don't believe people deserve special treatment because they're gay or because they're straight or bi or pan whatever. Whatever fucking abbreviation comes out there. Let's get a grip of this crap. Let's start looking at these clowns for what they are. Idiots. Idiots. Okay? Real, living, breathing morons. You know? Self-explanatory. You know, the article carries on. Now imagine if Andrew Scheer had said that. The Liberals would be absolutely ripping him to shreds, and the establishment media would be tearing him apart for his bigoted, supremacist, condescending attitude. It would be a huge story, and the Liberals would already have ads running demonizing Scheer, or anybody in the opposition for that matter, for those comments. If Scheer had made a comment like that, implying such a disparity in maturity and speaking about Indigenous communities as if they are kids who need a government parent to love them, he would certainly be getting attacked as a racist at this very moment. But when Trudeau says it, the remarks barely elicited any controversy, and they're not being treated as any sort of bigoted attitude on Trudeau's part. This shows how conservatives in Canada are forced to walk in a proverbial minefield when it comes to their public remarks, while far-left Liberal politicians can say anything and get away with it. It's no wonder that so many people are losing trust in the establishment media, and why outlets like the one you're reading right now are growing in popularity across the nation. People are fed up with the bias and manipulation. I don't blame him. Really. What do you say? Let me know in the comments below. You can reach me here on the YouTube or in Podbean under Krusty Canuck. You can also find me at krustycanuck.ca or krustybcanuck67 gmail.com. Let me know what you think. You can also find me on Facebook, Krusty Canuck, and on the Instagram at Canuck Krusty. I don't know. It's the last couple of outputs, last podcast and the last video I try to put out, I've always tried to find sense in some of these decisions and what some of these individuals or leaders have been trying to tell us. And I highly suggest you look at Spencer Fernando. He's got some great work there. I'll leave a link to his page at the end of this description here, but he's quite the intellect. And give him a shot, you know. He really stands up for Canada, and he stands up for common sense. And after reading this, I look at the common sense that our Liberals have. They don't have any. Anyhow, enough of my rambling on. That's my video for today. Thank you once again, everybody. To just my new subscribers on the Tube and on the Podbean. Thank you very much. And thank you again for the kind words and encouragement. Please consider donating to the above mentioned. I'll say again, $5 to $10 donation a month gets you a free t-shirt. 3 to 5 donation a month gets you a free mug. 30% of every sale and every donation will go to the Calgary Veterans Food Bank. That is a guarantee. I'm asking you guys to donate because I'm trying to supplement my income a bit here. Things are getting a bit tighter. This does cost me a bit of money to put up, to get on the go. However, you know, people like you that view and appreciate my work, thank you very much. But please share, pass it around, and please consider donating. So once again, thank you all for paying attention, and hope you all the best. And remember, humanity merit wins the day. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.